I'm making Italian peach cookies. Before we start making the cookies, I'm going to go over all of the ingredients. The exact recipe is listed in the caption below, but I'm going to go over what I have here for the cookies and a few of the tools that you might find helpful to make the cookies themselves. We're going to have a few other ingredients once we get into assembly, but for right now, the base of the cookies, I have butter, sugar, a lemon, 2 eggs, baking powder, salt, flour, and almond extract. One thing that I love about this cookie dough is that it is no chill. So we can make this right now and then pop it right into the oven, and you don't have to let it rest in the fridge or cool down or anything. So super easy to make and very simple ingredients that you probably already have in your pantry. I also have a mixing bowl and a handheld mixer. You can also use a stand mixer, or you could do it by hand, but we're going to whisk the eggs and sugar together until they get pale and ribbony, and it would be a killer arm workout, so go ahead if you want to attempt it, but ideally you would have either a hand mixer or a stand mixer. I just have a rubber spatula, and then I'm going to use a microplane to zest my lemon, and I'm going to use a small cookie scoop to portion out the dough. Now, you don't have to use this, but one of the reasons it's very helpful is because all of the cookies will then be the same size. Not only will they then cook in the exact same time, but we're going to sandwich these together, so it's a lot easier to find a mate for a top and bottom cookie if you have them all the same size, and this assures that they will all be about the same size. So I have the cookie scoop, and once the cookies are out of the oven, I'm going to use a melon baller. Again, this is not necessary, but it's optional. It makes it a little bit easier, and you will see why. So I have all of my ingredients, all of the tools I need, and now let's make our cookie dough. In my large bowl, I'm going to add a half a cup of sugar and 2 eggs. These eggs happen to be from the chickens that we have at our house, so extra credit if you if you raise your own chickens and have your own eggs. I'll add these eggs directly to the sugar. Now I'm going to mix this for about 5 to 6 minutes, depending on if you're using a stand mixer or a hand mixer. The stand mixer is going to be faster typically, but what you're looking for is a pale mixture that is full of air and leaves a ribbon. When you remove the mixer from it, it will fall back into itself in a ribbon pattern. So we're going to mix this together for a few minutes, and I'll give you a peek at the desired consistency that you were looking for. The color on this is looking much lighter, but I can still tell it is far too thin. So just a few more minutes and we'll get that desired consistency. Okay, the mixture has gotten paler and a little bit thicker. I'm going to keep the hand mixer on low while I stream in the butter. And slowly turn it up to a higher speed. Next, I'm going to zest my lemon, and then I'll slice it and use about 2 tablespoons of the juice as well. These cookies are going to be filled with a peach jam, so I think that little bit of lemon or citrus flavor pairs nicely with the peach jam that's going to be in the center. Get all of that zest. And make sure that you're not getting the white part, only the yellow parts. The white part tends to be bitter. Okay. Now the juice of the lemon, which is about 2 tablespoons depending on the size of the lemon that you are using. If you haven't used almond extract before, it is very potent, so not like vanilla extract where you can kind of be loosey-goosey and eyeball it. Too much almond extract can be unpleasant, so I only have a little bit in there, but you certainly can taste it. Now I'm going to fold in my flour, baking powder, and salt. So I can set this aside. We're all done with our hand mixer. I want to make sure that these cookies are nice and tender and not overmix, so that's why I fold in the flour to prevent any overmixing. This is a very simple cookie recipe, so something that would be great for a beginner, and still they are like the cutest cookies, perfect for peach season, and they come together so simply, simple ingredients. And again, I love that you don't have to chill the batter. You can just decide you want to make the cookies and pop them in the oven. Giving everything a good mix, making sure it is well combined. My batter is all mixed together. Now time to get my baking sheet. I have my baking sheet here, and you can use any parchment paper or silicone baking pan. I happen to have this, and it's for the French macarons. So it has the circles on it already. This is not necessary for this, but I just kind of like it so I know that I'm properly spacing the cookies out. So I have a baking sheet lined with a silicone baking pan. Parchment is fine. You will need 2 of these ready to go. This recipe makes 16 cookies, which is actually 32 cookies because you're going to sandwich them together. So the batter makes quite a bit. You don't need a lot of batter to make one of these cookies. So now our handy cookie scoop. I'm going to scoop the batter and then just press against the edge of the bowl to remove any excess. Place this in my hand, roll it together, place it on the baking pan, and just gently press down. Since we're using 2 baking pans, if you do decide to put these in the oven at the same time, just make sure you rotate your pans halfway so that the bottoms and tops of both trays cook properly. I've seen different variations of the filling for these cookies. I've seen a ricotta filling, and I've seen like a chocolate filling as well. I think that the peach jam is perfect for these because, well, they're shaped like peaches, but it goes nice with the almond and citrus cookie dough. So there are different variations, but I just love this pairing so much. This tray of cookies are done. Now time to put these into the oven for about 15 to 18 minutes. Again, if you're putting both pans in at the same time, make sure you're rotating them halfway. What we're looking for is a light brown bottom and making sure that they are cooked all the way through. We're going to be dunking these in a liquid, so we want to make sure that they're cooked through all of the way because that liquid is going to soften them a bit, and we want to make sure that they're tender but do not fall apart. So 15 to 18 minutes, I'm going to put these in and get the batch that I made previously out of the oven and start assembly. My previous batch of cookies are out of the oven, a nice light brown bottom, and they're cooked through so they are crisp, firm, not underbaked. This is where the melon baller comes in. I'm going to use the small side of the melon baller to scoop out the center of the cookies. And I find that this is easier to do when they're still warm. If you don't have one of these, you can always use a paring knife or one of your like 1/4 teaspoon measuring spoons. That should work as well. So what I'm going to do is just scoop out the center. And you can just put the bits that are in the center to the side. I like to snack on them. And just repeat this process until all of them have been scooped out. The cookies have all been scooped out, and you might be wondering, what are you doing with Aperol? Are you drinking on the job again? No. This is the cookies are going to be dipped in to get that perfect peach color. Traditionally, Alkermes is a liqueur that is used in Italy. I find it very challenging to find in the US. I've seen it one time in Buon Italia in New York City, but Aperol is something I always have on hand. I love an Aperol spritz, so I'm going to use this instead, about 1/3 cup of it. If you want a non-alcoholic option, you can always do water with a little bit of food coloring, or if you want to do maybe water with like a pinch of pomegranate juice, that is an option. So I'm using Aperol, but there are definitely other options that you can use. And if you get your hands on the Alkermes, you can certainly use that, or you can also use Campari, a great option. So plenty of different options to get that bright color. The other thing I have here is my peach jam. I'm going to fill each of these cookies with the peach jam and sandwich them together. And I'm sure you can see that these are all pretty similar in size. And I almost forgot, the other thing that I have for the assembly is mint leaves. I have those so they act as the stems of the peaches. Be right back. Okay, so here I have some mint leaves as well. Simply take a top and a bottom and sandwich together. I also have this baking pan with a wire rack to prevent the cookies from having like a soggy bottom, so they will dry on here. So first I'm going to dunk in my Aperol, then into my sugar, and onto the drying rack. And you want to just put those in for a second. You don't want them to get soggy, but just moist. Well, you can eat these right away. I do like to let them sit out for a little bit, just so they soften up and become a little bit more tender. Okay. It's like the cutest cookie ever. The only thing left to do is give these cute little cookies a taste. If you liked this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a future one. Thank you for tuning in.